Cardinals from around the globe have been seen walking near St. Peter's Square today as thousands flocked to St. Peter's Basilica to pay their last respects to Pope Francis. His body is lying in state for 3 days before his funeral on Saturday. Let's go now to the Vatican, where our correspondent John Bevir is standing by. John, a very good afternoon to you. So we understand more than 50,000 people have been queuing in the last 24 hours alone to pay their respects to the Pope. I mean, to the extent that the church has extended, we understand, opening hours to accommodate mourners. Just give us a sense of what you've been seeing and hearing on the ground for us, and of course, how plans ahead of the funeral are unfolding.
Yeah, you're absolutely right in terms of the numbers. The Vatican have said more than 50,000 attended Pope Francis lying in state in those first 24 hours. Viewing opened at 11 a.m. yesterday, Wednesday. It was due to shut yesterday evening at midnight, but in fact, the Vatican kept it open all night, just closing for 1 hour this morning briefly before resuming again. So people were queuing throughout the night in order to see Pope Francis lying in state. There are tens of thousands more expected to join that queue in the coming hours and into tomorrow. And of course, the last chance that anyone has got to pay their respects in person come at about 7 o'clock on Friday evening, and that's because at 8 o'clock, as things stand at the moment, the casket will be sealed ahead of the funeral on Saturday. So we are seeing, as you would expect, huge demand for people to come and pay their last respects to a pope who was much loved by many.
I'm just referencing back to our introduction, where Cardinals was seen just walking around near St. Peter's Square. I know it's early days, but there is a lot, of course, of anticipation for the papal conclave, the process of choosing a new pope, which will begin in May, of course. Remind us again of that process again, and what we are likely to expect in the election of the new pope.
Yeah, as you say, the Cardinals have been seen walking around Vatican City, just near St. Peter's Square. I saw 2 or 3 yesterday, and as soon as any of them emerged with their very distinctive red robes, they are immediately pounced upon, mostly by local media, all trying to get some source of information, try and pick their brains about something. But of course, when it comes to the actual conclave itself, which best guesses are it will probably start on May the 6th, well then it is a secret ballot. They enter the chambers in the Vatican, and then there is no contact with the outside world whilst the vote takes place. So it's all these meetings now ahead of time between the cardinals as they are meeting each other. Some for the first time, of course, they are spread throughout the globe. So for some, this is the first time they're meeting in person, and they're working out who maybe they think they should vote for. So yes, all very interesting in terms of how it all works. Of course, it is steeped in tradition and history as well, as you might imagine. So the whole process, very intriguing. Of course, made even more intriguing by the fact there was the recent Hollywood film, The Conclave, won all sorts of awards, but it meant that it has brought that whole process to a new audience, maybe an audience who didn't know or think anything about it in the past, have all now seen a Hollywood version of it. So the truth, obviously, is somewhere close to that.
John, thank you so much for that update. Of course, we'll continue to get more updates from you as we continue to mark, of course, the death and the life and time of the Pope. All right, that was John Bevir standing by for us in Rome. Cardinals from around the world and being seen walking there near St. Peter's Square as thousands. We understand over 50,000 people have queued in the last 24 hours alone to pay their respects to the Pope.